I mean, sometimes if I'm deeply into a piece, it's really nice to get away from it and go to hear something else and not think about it. But I think I compartmentalize like that. I mean, I do a lot of other things to put the piece aside. I mean, I may do some reading, I may do some physical activity, I may have sit with friends and just talk about music or not music, and then I come back to the piece. And a lot of times, I do think that a lot of other things that I do feed into the music. If I'm having a really animated conversation, I might just have an animated conversation with a bunch of instruments. Or, poetry is something else too. I go to poetry readings pretty often, and that's all musical kind of thought, thinking to me is, a lot of it is. So I think that's something that has an effect on what I'm doing. I had such a heavy dose of 12-tone stuff with Charles Warren, and mainly with him, yeah. So I, always had these rows, and he was always teaching me, the retrogrades and doing all these different things. And that was sort of in my ear, and Babbitt's music, I guess. I mean, I didn't study with him. In fact, I'll tell you one very relevant story, that I was in a concert with a piece of Milton was on the same concert. And the intermission in Merkin Hall, and we're on stage talking about our pieces. And at one point, he looked at me and he said, "What I really like in your music is the bebop jazz influence." And he knows that music so, so well. And it was like this whole part of me just relaxed and said, I can do this, what I really want to do, because I heard this music when I was a teenager. I lived in New Jersey, and my brother would bring me in with his friends, and we'd go to all those clubs, Birdland, and all these places. And I had all that music in my ear, but you couldn't do that at Columbia University, And so suddenly I would find these kind of overlappings, that I could go from one to the other. And then I began just saying to myself, okay, I'm going to sit at the piano, and I'm going to play chords that I like, period. And I'm just going to play whatever's in there. And so many of them came out. I wasn't using rows anymore, and I was so, this was really exciting. And I just started playing these chords. And then I realized if you took them apart, many of them were the same chords that might be, 0139s, in this stupid language, 0258. I mean, I can practically play all these chords, And they would be the same chords, but in different inversions. And my ear was in both places, but they were coming together. I mean, I was comfortable with using them. And then I could choose my own order. I didn't have to have, the 1 chord and the 4 chord and the 6, I could just say, well, let's try this one. I'm curious, and I am a sort of just by nature a curious. I'm always asking people questions, and people will say, "Stop asking questions. You ask too many questions." and I'm genuinely curious, and sometimes it's interpreted as I'm butting in or, stepping on someone's privacy or something like that. So I don't know if I can connect that. I just like to be aware, and maybe some of it is maybe some of it is just plain, maybe I'll get some ideas. You know, that's another thing. Well, I don't know what to do. I'll go to this concert and I hear something very interesting, and maybe I'll try something like that, you know, that's out of my box.